Kush's movie review.
We actually locked ourselves in a hotel room for 5 days and ate nothing but Chinese takeout before coming up with that, Mike.
Oh,
It was a wild week, man, but I'm glad we did it.
I mean, it took us some time, but it was worth it. So I
Right.
think we hit the nail on the head on that one.
I feel good. I feel good.
This week's movie review is Piece by Piece, aka the Lego Movie 3, where we decide, it's veer off from Chris Pratt's voiceoverness and let's find out what Pharrell Williams up to. And it's the life and times of Pharrell Williams as told by Lego, apparently. Um,
Yes and yes.
how is it?
It's a fantastic fucking movie, dude. So we're, as you said, we're talking piece by piece. It is rated PG. It is a very, very proper 93 minutes. This is
Ooh.
absolutely a kids movie, but it is also a documentary, much as you just said, told in the medium of Lego. In fact, that actually becomes part of the narrative. Like they're sitting down. Um, Pharrell Williams and the director Morgan Neville. We'll get into him again in a second here. But Pharrell's just like, yeah, man. So I was thinking, I want this movie to be done in the style of Lego, like the Lego movie. And he's like, I'm sorry, what? I want to make this movie like a Lego movie. And I was like, the documentary about your life, Pharrell. He's like, I know. And I want to tell it in Lego form. And he's like, that's the craziest thing I've ever heard. Ah, it might be, but that's what I want to do. And then the movie starts. So this is directed by Morgan Neville. If you're not familiar with that name, he actually does a lot of documentary work. I think the one thing you might recognize is in 2018, he did the Mr. Rogers documentary, where Won't You Be My Neighbor? Not to be confused with the Mr. Rogers biopic starring Tom Hanks. Two different things came out within a year of each other. I can see why people get mixed up all the time. Anyways, because this is a documentary for all intents and purposes. No writer, just Morgan Neville, and it stars Mr. Pharrell Williams. It stars Morgan Neville is in this, and then you get a wealth of celebrity cameos, including Timbaland, Snoop Dogg, who actually has the best scene, Gwen Stefani, Justin Timberlake, etc., 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 etc. Like the list of people in this movie is pretty wild. Um, I know the name Pharrell Williams. I'm pretty sure I've even seen him at a Golden State Warriors NBA Finals. Um, Knew he was a musician, and maybe other than besides the single "Happy," couldn't name one Pharrell Williams song. However, per this movie, apparently I've been listening to him as long as Rex and Effects' Rump Shaker from like 1991. So like when they go through this man's life, I'm amazed at all the music that he's been involved with. I'm like, oh, I know that song. Oh, I know that song, and I know that song, and I know that song. I didn't know someone was involved in that song, but I know that song too.
Well, I know
Um,
I know you noticed now after watching this movie of his life, but yeah, he was so it's Pharrell Williams, but then he was also as part of the production group, the Neptunes,
yep, that
and
comes
he was
up.
also part of a rock band called No One Ever Really Dies, aka NERD,
Nerd.
aka Nerd. Yeah,
That
he
comes up.
that dude's been rocking for a long time.
Yeah, man.
Big fan of his
And
work.
it's a fantastic story where again, it's a very smart, brilliant, well-educated, well-disciplined child. But school is not his fucking forte. Um, he hooks up with this other kid who also has like a studio in his house, and they just start cranking out tunes.
Was that
Um,
Hugo?
no,
Um,
uh, or maybe it is Filipino cat.
yeah, I think it's Hugo something something.
Okay, yeah, that must be Hugo. I'm sorry. Um, Again, this was all eye-opening for me. Eventually, a major music producer actually comes to his hometown, Neptune, West Virginia, or wherever they are in West Virginia. Very, very small town right by the beach. Um, Ends up interning there, just learning the ropes, doing everything he can to be part of the solution and not part of the problem. And then one night, Teddy Riley, that's the name of the producer, he's like, I need someone to write a rat for me for this thing called Rum Shaker. And they recreate part of the video in Lego form, and I'm just laughing my ass off the entire time. Um, Parents, if you're a little bit worried, if the PG rating hasn't set anything up for you in advance, a lot of these songs had cussing in it, and all we hear are the radio edits. So I want you to know that that's okay. The word shit is used 4 times in this
Oh,
movie, but censored twice. Yeah,
yeah.
it's an interesting choice. It's an interesting choice, but that happens. Again, Snoop Doggy Dogg is mentioned that to be a part of this film, and it's Snoop Dogg. So we get to the scene where Pharrell meets Snoop Dogg, and this is a kid. This is still a kids movie. It's in the Lego medium. So instead of showing Snoop Dogg just smoking blunt after blunt after blunt, there's a little Lego minifig with an aerosol can that says PG spray, and so it's just he just fogs up the entire room. And I was like, that's goddamn brilliant. Like it's yeah, this is an amazing movie. It came in fifth place at the box office this weekend when it opened. Terrifier 3 for some reason took all the money this weekend. I I, I have no desire to see Terrifier 3. I've not seen 1 or 2 either. So that's never going to be a thing coming up. But this movie, piece by piece, fantastic little flick. It's one of those things where like I got out of it and I had to text everybody like, you need to see the Lego. You need to see piece by piece. You need to see piece by piece. Take your kid to see piece by piece. Piece by piece is the perfect movie for you and your kid. Blah 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 blah. It's a biopic. It's a documentary, and at some point, when no matter who you are, once you rise, you must fall. And maybe things are. I mean, again, this seems like a pretty wholesome dude. So I don't know what the actual real story might be, but it doesn't appear like drugs or alcohol ever became a thing. Doesn't sound like he overspent his money. Just sounds like he got so successful that he was just like, well, what could I do next? So like at one point he's just like, yeah, I wanted to come out with the girl album, and I wanted to come out with the club album, and I want to come out with the rock album. And like an executive assistant is like, the fuck is your problem, dude? You don't make the girl album, you don't make the club album, you don't make the rock album, you just make music, and it works. So get your head out of your ass. And he had to fucking rest with that for like a couple years before he finally got back on his feet and hooked up with his homeboy Hugo. Um, Pusha T? Is that a name? The
Pusha T
third
is a
member of the
rapper.
Neptune. Is Pusha T
I don't think no, I don't think Pusha T was a member of the Neptunes.
the third member of the Neptunes? Then is what I'm talking about. Like that guy falls off completely, where he's like hustling in the
A
streets.
African American fella.
Yes.
Yeah, so okay, I could be wrong, but so Neptunes, I believe, was just Pharrell and the Filipino guy. The black guy came in, and he was the third member of NERD.
Hmm.
It might be a, I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's how it worked.
I feel like he was also part of the Neptunes, but not important. Not
Doesn't
important.
matter.
Not important. Doesn't matter.
If
It's
I'm
not
wrong, I'm
important.
wrong.
But this was one of those things where like that dude fell off hard, where he was just slinging in the streets again, and they're like, uh, Pharrell calls him, was like, "Hey, buddy, I just created the greatest beat I've ever made in my life, and if you don't get your ass over here in 15 minutes, I'm giving it to Jay-Z." And it's like, how, how do you respond to that? Like, you run your ass all the way to Pharrell Williams' house, and you hear that beat. Um, Said this already multiple times. Fantastic movie, delightful. 93 minutes. I was on the edge of my seat the entire time. I love the animation in this. I think as of right now, this is the best animated movie of the year. I think this is a perfect movie to take your kids to. Outstanding freaking soundtrack, dude. Like it's just wall to wall music. I want to see this like 2 or 3 more times in the theater. I'm definitely going to buy it when it comes on digital. And then for some reason, unlike the other 4 Lego movies, that's Lego movies 1 and 2, Ninjago, and the Lego Batman movie. This one is for some reason not distributed or produced by Warner Brothers. So I don't know what the deal is with that, but Lego is involved. Warner Brothers is not. I think this is a not DreamWorks, but Lionsgate. I forget. It's not Warner Brothers. So I don't know what to make of that. And then again, this thing debuted at 5th place. So if you don't go see this movie in the theater, it'll probably be on Netflix in the month. But I believe this deserves to be seen on a screen, on the biggest screen you can see it on. I don't think you're going to do the 4DX gimmick. There's, to my knowledge, no 3D gimmick. But I really love this movie, and I'm giving it a 5 out of 5, man. It's one of the best movies of the year.
Piece by Piece, Lego movie about the life and times of Pharrell Williams. Boom. 5 out of 5.
Yeah.
Make sure you do yourself a favor and check it out.
That's all, folks.
Play me off, Johnny.